My name is Arya Middleton, and I am 36 years old. On paper, my life looks solid, respectable. I am a marketing director for a tech startup in Chicago. I live alone in a loft apartment in Lincoln Park with exposed brick, big windows, and a view of the skyline that still makes me catch my breath at night. I manage a team of 12 people, juggle deadlines, slide decks, and impossible requests from founders who think, "Could we just?" is a harmless phrase. By the time most people are uncorking a bottle of wine on Friday, I am usually still glued to my laptop, massaging numbers in a campaign report so they tell a story the investors will like. From the outside, I look like the woman who has it together, but you cannot see the part of my life that quietly ate me alive for 6 years. You only would have heard it in the phone calls. Arya, do not be ridiculous. You always watch them on Thanksgiving. My sister Kate's voice dripped through my phone with a familiar entitlement that made my jaw clench. I stood at my living room window, staring out at the Chicago skyline, one hand gripping my mug, the other gripping my phone so hard my knuckles whitened. Not this year, I thought. Aloud, I said, "Not this year, Kate. I have plans." Plans? She laughed. That sharp, dismissive laugh I have heard my entire life. What plans could possibly be more important than family? My own life, actually. You can find a babysitter. You are being selfish. The kids are already asking for you. Her words landed in the same place they always did, aiming straight for the soft, guilty center of me that had been trained since childhood to make myself small and useful. Hi, I am Arya. Today, I am going to tell you the story of how I finally stood up to my entitled sister and reclaimed my life. But before I continue, please like, share, and subscribe if you want to hear more stories like this, because what I am about to say may sound familiar in ways you do not want to admit. I am 36, single, and I live in that loft in Lincoln Park. My job is demanding, my schedule is packed, my time is valuable. My older sister Kate is 40 and has 5 children. Grayson is 12, Harper is 10, Knox is 8, Penelope is 6, and little Beckett just turned 4. Yes, 5 kids. Her husband Dalton travels 3 weeks out of every month as a pharmaceutical sales rep, which means Kate is handling everything alone, or so she claims, loudly and often. They live 45 minutes away in Naperville in one of those sprawling suburban houses with a 3-car garage and a basketball hoop in the driveway. Their home is constantly chaotic, always messy, always loud. Somehow, despite having 5 times the square footage of my apartment, there is never any space for quiet. Our parents, Robert and Patricia Sullivan, retired to Scottsdale, Arizona 5 years ago. They adore Kate's kids. They also maintain a carefully curated distance. We did our time raising children, my mother likes to say. Now we are focusing on ourselves. My younger brother, Griffin, is 32 and lives in Portland with his fiancée. He is conveniently 2,000 miles away from all the family dysfunction. I am absolutely certain that is not an accident. Griffin video calls for birthdays and major holidays, expresses vague sympathy for my situation, and then returns to his blissfully drama-free West Coast life. So how did I end up as the unpaid third parent? It started 6 years ago, back when Kate only had 3 kids. She called me 3 days before Thanksgiving. I remember the exact sound of her voice, sugary sweet with manufactured desperation. "Arya, I need the biggest favor. Dalton's regional manager invited us to this incredible Thanksgiving dinner at his estate in Lake Forest. It is crucial for his career, but it is strictly adults only. Could you possibly watch the kids?" That year, I had plans to go to Friendsgiving at my friend Natalie's. She is also single, works in finance, and hosts this chaotic, wonderful dinner every Thanksgiving with too much food and too many stories. It had quietly become my favorite holiday. But Kate sounded genuinely stressed. Back then, I still believed that kind of stress was real. I still believed that family emergency meant something. I thought, it is just one day? How bad could it be? "Sure," I said, already regretting it. "What time?" "We will drop them off around 1 and pick them up by 8. You are an absolute lifesaver." That Thanksgiving, I spent 9 hours managing 3 children under 7 in a 900 square foot loft, not designed for small humans who move like hurricanes. Grayson, who was 6 then, spilled an entire bottle of grape juice on my cream-colored sofa. Harper dumped a whole box of crackers behind my entertainment center. Knox had a meltdown because I did not have the specific brand of dinosaur-shaped organic chicken nuggets he would eat. The clock ticked past 8, 9, 10. Kate and Dalton finally arrived at 10:30, reeking of expensive wine and barely acknowledging the disaster zone that had once been my living room. "Same time next year," Kate said, kissing my cheek like we had just agreed to a mutually beneficial arrangement. I should have said no right then. I should have looked at the stained couch, the crumbs in the carpet, the ache in my back, and said, this was a one-time favor, not a tradition. But I did not. I was too tired, too overwhelmed, too conditioned by years of being the good sister, the accommodating middle child who did not rock the boat. The next year, Kate had 4 kids. The year after that, 5. And every single Thanksgiving became identical. Kate would call a few days before and inform me, not ask, inform, that she was dropping the kids off. I would spend 8 to 10 hours as an unpaid, unappreciated babysitter while she and Dalton attended some networking event or fancy dinner party. It did not stop at Thanksgiving. Christmas Eve became mine to handle. Easter Sunday. Random Saturdays when Kate desperately needed couple time. 4th of July, because fireworks are too much with 5 kids. She never once asked if I had plans. Never considered that I might want to actually enjoy a holiday myself. "You do not have kids, so you have all this free time," she would say, as if my life was a blank calendar waiting to be filled with her children's demands. My friends noticed long before I did. Natalie eventually stopped inviting me to things because I canceled so often. "I understand your sister needs help," she said one night over drinks. "But Arya, when do you get to have a life?" My coworker Lauren was more direct. "Why do you keep saying yes? She is completely using you." "She is my sister," I said. The phrase that had become my whole justification. Family helps family. "Family respects family," Lauren shot back. "There is a difference." But I kept saying yes. I kept rearranging my life around Kate's convenience. I kept swallowing my resentment because saying no felt dangerous, wrong, like I would be betraying some unwritten rule about what a good daughter and good sister is supposed to do. This year, everything changed. It started in mid-October when Kate called about Thanksgiving. No pleasantries, no pretense. "So, same arrangement as always," she said. "We will drop the kids at your place around noon this year. Dalton's boss is hosting this huge thing in Evanston, and we absolutely cannot miss it." Something in me snapped, not loudly, not dramatically, quietly, like a rubber band finally giving way after being stretched too far. "Actually, Kate," I said, "I am doing something different this year." Silence, then cautiously, "Different like what?" "Like having Thanksgiving for myself. I am going out with friends. I will not be available for babysitting." She laughed. "Arya, you say this every year and then you take the kids anyway. Do not be dramatic." "I am serious this time," I said. My voice surprised me. It sounded calm, steady. "I would like Thanksgiving off." "Off?" Her voice sharpened. "You are not working. You are just sitting at home doing nothing." Watching 5 kids alone for 10 hours is not nothing, Kate. It is exhausting. It is a full day of work that I do for free, repeatedly, without any appreciation. "Oh my God, you are exaggerating. They are family. Besides, this dinner is critical for Dalton's career. His boss specifically mentioned wanting FaceTime with the rising performers." "Then hire a babysitter." "Do you have any idea what a babysitter costs for 5 kids on a major holiday? That is insane when you are right there and available." "I am not available." "Arya, do not be selfish. We need this opportunity." There it was, that word, the one that had always worked before. Selfish. For years, that word had been a switch. Flip it, and I would abandon my own plans, my own peace, my own life, to make sure no one could accuse me of being that kind of sister. But this time, the word did not pierce me. It burned. "No, Kate," I said quietly. "Find someone else." Long silence. So long I thought the call had dropped. "Are you seriously doing this right now?" "Completely serious." "Fine, be that way. But do not come crying to me when you are alone on Thanksgiving with no family around." She hung up. I stared at my phone, hearing my own heartbeat in my ears, the city noise muffled beyond the windows. I had actually done it. I had actually said no. I did not know it yet, but in that moment, the entire script of my life started to change. The relief of saying no lasted maybe 24 hours. 4 a.m. Then the counterattack began. First, it came in the form of a notification. FaceTime incoming. Kate. I almost ignored it, but old habits die hard, and I still pictured the kids' faces if I didn't pick up. I answered. Penelope's little face filled my screen, cheeks flushed, curls messy, eyes too big and too earnest for a 6-year-old. "Aunt Arya?" Her voice trembled slightly. "Mommy says, you do not want to see us on Thanksgiving." My stomach dropped. Of course I want to see you, sweetheart, I said, forcing my voice gentle. I love you all so much. This year, Aunt Arya just has different plans on Thanksgiving Day. Behind her, I heard Kate's voice, sharp and theatrical. See, kids? Aunt Arya's plans are more important than you. Rage shot through me so fast I went cold. Penelope's lip wobbled. Did we do something wrong? My heart cracked clean down the middle. This was not an accident. This was strategy. Kate knew exactly where to aim, not at me directly, but through the children I adored. You did absolutely nothing wrong, I said firmly. Listen to me, Pen. You and your brothers and sister are perfect. This is not about you, okay? She sniffled and nodded, not fully convinced. Harper's face appeared beside her. But Mom said you are abandoning us. My hand clenched out of frame. I would never abandon you, I said, each word low and steady. How about this? We will have our own special day together the weekend after Thanksgiving. Just us. Anywhere you want. Anywhere? Harper's eyes brightened. Can we go to Navy Pier and get funnel cake and ride the Ferris wheel? Absolutely, I said. Navy Pier, funnel cake, Ferris wheel. You have my word. Before the hope on their faces could fully bloom, Kate's hand appeared, dragging the phone away. That is enough, she snapped. Say goodbye, kids. Aunt Arya is very busy. The call cut off. An hour later, my phone buzzed with a text from Kate. Hope you are happy making children cry. I stared at the message until the words blurred. Then another text popped up. Mom was right, you have changed, not in a good way. I put my phone face down on the coffee table like it might bite me. For the rest of the day, I walked around my apartment with this buzzing, restless energy under my skin. Part guilt, part fury, part something else I didn't recognize yet. Something that felt like a muscle waking up after being asleep for years. 2 days later, my mother called. The second I saw Mom on the screen, my chest tightened. I knew exactly what this was. I took a deep breath and answered. Arya, she said. No hello, no how are you, just my name, heavy with disappointment. Your sister tells me you are refusing to help with the children this year. I am not refusing to help, I said. I am just not available on Thanksgiving. But you are always available on Thanksgiving. It has become a family tradition. A flare of anger sparked in my ribs. It is a tradition I never agreed to, Mom. It just happened. And then it was treated like a rule. My mother sighed, the sound dripping through the phone. Family members make sacrifices for each other. That is what love means. I have been sacrificing every major holiday for 6 years, I said quietly. I would like one for myself. You sound bitter, she said, voice cool. That is not an attractive quality, Arya. I closed my eyes for a moment. I could feel my teenage self rising in me, the one who used to fold at the first sign of that tone. I am not bitter, I said. I am tired. There is a difference. Well, Kate is extremely upset. She might have to cancel very important plans because of your selfishness. Then she should have arranged proper childcare instead of assuming I would be on call for free, I replied. I do not know where this attitude is coming from, my mother said. You used to be such a sweet, accommodating girl. There it was, past tense, used to be. Maybe that was the truth. I used to be. I am not anymore. I am still sweet, I said softly. But I am not a doormat. I am allowed to have boundaries, Mom. Silence stretched between us. Then she added, clipped. You are breaking this family apart over one dinner. No, I thought, but did not say. I am just refusing to keep it held together with my spine. After we hung up, I stood in the middle of my loft feeling like the villain of my own story. The bad sister, the difficult daughter. But underneath the guilt, something stronger simmered. Determination. I was so tired of the word selfish being used like a weapon against any woman who dared want a life outside of serving everyone else. Later that afternoon at work, I stepped out of a meeting to grab coffee from the tiny kitchen. I must have looked as tense as I felt, because Lauren followed me. Okay, you look like you want to stab someone with a spoon, she said. What happened? I gave her the short version, the FaceTime, the kids crying, my mother's lecture about how unattractive my bitterness was. Lauren listened, arms crossed, eyebrows raised. Wow, she said finally. Your family really has you cast in a role, huh? What do you mean? You are the reliable one, the helper. They are treating your entire existence like a service they can subscribe to for free. I gave a weak laugh. Great, I am Netflix, but with anxiety. I am serious, Arya, she said. You're not doing anything wrong. You said no. They are just mad the magic babysitter machine stopped working. Her words slid into my brain like a key in a lock. I felt seen. It scared me how badly I needed that. After work, as I was walking home, my phone rang again. Griffin, I answered. Hey, let me guess, he said. Let me guess, he said. Kate is mad you will not babysit on Thanksgiving. I blinked. How did you know? Because Mom called me, demanding I talk sense into you, he said dryly. I told her you are making a healthy decision and she should mind her own business. A laugh burst out of me, half hysterical, half relieved. You really said that? I am 3 time zones away and the family disappointment, he said. What are they going to do? Ground me? I leaned against a lamppost, the city buzzing around me. What if she really needs the help, though? Then, he said, she needs to plan like an adult and respect your boundaries. You are not her built-in daycare. His certainty steadied me. If the sibling farthest away could see things clearly, maybe I was not crazy. The week before Thanksgiving, the guilt campaign kicked into high gear. Kate sent long, breathless texts about how I was betraying the family, how I was traumatizing her children, how I was choosing strangers over blood. I did not respond. The day before Thanksgiving, I was in a meeting about Q4 budgets when my phone lit up with a text banner. Kids are excited to see you tomorrow. Dropping them off at noon as usual. A chill went down my spine. Not can we drop them off. Dropping them off, like my repeated no, had been white noise. I stared at the message, the edges of my vision going sharp. She thinks I am bluffing, I realized. She does not believe I will follow through. As soon as the meeting ended, I stepped into the hallway and dialed her number. She answered on the first ring. Hey, I just texted. Kate, I cut in. I already told you I am not available tomorrow. Oh, I thought you were just being moody, she said. You will get over it. I am not being moody. I have plans. I am going to Friendsgiving at Natalie's. Cancel them. I actually laughed. No. Arya, do not be ridiculous, she snapped. You are clearly not doing anything that important. And you are clearly not listening, I replied. I am not taking the kids tomorrow. I have told you this repeatedly. Find other arrangements. What arrangements? She shrieked. It is the day before Thanksgiving. Every babysitter in Chicago is booked. That is insane. That is not my problem, I said quietly. You had weeks. After everything I have done for you. What have you done for me, Kate? The words came out before I could stop them. Name one single thing you have done for me in the last 6 years. Silence. You cannot, can you? I said, my voice shaking now. Not with fear, but with fury. Because this relationship is one-sided. I give, and you take. You are being incredibly hurtful, she hissed. These are your nieces and nephews. And I love them, I said. This is not about them. This is about you refusing to respect my time. We have to go to this dinner, she said. It is not optional. Then pay for a sitter, I replied. There are agencies that handle holiday care. I am not paying someone $200 when you can do it for free. And there it was. The truth she had been dancing around for 6 years. You see me as free labor, I said, voice low, not as a person. This conversation is over, she snapped, and hung up. My hands were shaking when I lowered the phone, but for the first time the shaking came with a strange sense of power, like my body was calibrating to a new reality. That evening, as the sky over Chicago turned that bruised purple-gray of early winter, a different kind of fear surfaced. What if she just shows up anyway? It was not a hypothetical. Kate had shown up unannounced before, kids in tow, claiming she had no other choice. She still had a spare key from 2 years ago, when I had gone on vacation and needed someone to water my plants. I had never asked for it back. The thought of her walking into my home on Thanksgiving morning, dropping 5 kids in my living room and leaving, I felt my heart pound harder. No, not again. I called my building super. This is going to sound strange, I said, but is it possible to have my locks changed tonight? Trouble with an ex? He asked, half joking. Something like that, I answered. 2 hours later, a locksmith was at my door. The sound of the old deadbolt unscrewing was louder than it should have been, like metal punctuation on a sentence I had never been brave enough to finish. New locks, new keys, new rules. As I closed the door behind him and tested the lock twice, a weight I had carried for years shifted. For the first time, my home felt like mine again. Not an extension of my sister's house, not a backup nursery. Mine. Thanksgiving morning dawned bright and cold. Sunlight spilled through my windows onto the hardwood floor, turning the room golden. I made coffee in quiet that did not feel empty. It felt peaceful. I baked my apple crisp from scratch, the scent of cinnamon and brown sugar filling the loft. I set out the bottle of Pinot Noir I had bought for Natalie's Friendsgiving, laid my burgundy sweater dress on the bed, and actually took my time getting ready. At 11:30, just as I was putting on mascara, my doorbell rang. Then the pounding started. Arya, open this door right now! My heart jumped into my throat. I put the mascara down, wiped my hands on a towel, and walked to the door. Through the peephole, I saw exactly what I had expected and dreaded. Kate, flushed and furious. Dalton, awkward and stiff. 5 kids in their nice clothes, clutching backpacks, eyes bright and confused. I rested my hand on the new lock, feeling the cold metal under my fingers. This, I realized, was the real test. Saying no over the phone was one thing. Could I keep the door closed when they were standing on the other side? I slid the chain into place and slowly opened the door as far as it would go. "Hi, Kate," I said. Kate's eyes widened when she saw the chain across my door, like she couldn't believe I would dare put a physical barrier between us. Behind her, the kids stood bundled in coats, hats, little gloves, 5 faces full of expectation and confusion. "What are you doing?" Kate hissed. "Unchain the door. We're dropping off the kids." I kept my hand on the doorframe, grounding myself. "I told you, Kate, I'm not available today." She scoffed, loud and incredulous. "You're clearly home. I can see your face right there. Don't play games." "Being home doesn't mean I'm available." "Arya," she leaned in, lowering her voice like we were co-conspirators instead of combatants. "Stop this. You're embarrassing yourself. Just let the kids inside. We're already running late." Dalton shifted uncomfortably, hands in his pockets, eyes bouncing between us like he hated being here. Grayson kept staring at the sidewalk. Harper was holding Beckett's hand, and Penelope stepped forward slightly. "Aunt Arya?" she whispered. Are we still having Thanksgiving with you?" My heart cracked cleanly in half. I knelt slightly, meeting her eyes through the small gap the chain allowed. "No, sweetheart," I said softly. "Not today, but we're having our special Navy Pier Day next weekend, remember?" Her little nod was so small it almost wasn't there. Kate swooped in like a storm front. "You're upsetting them. Stop talking in riddles and open the door." "I'm not taking the kids today," I repeated, voice steady. "But they're here, Arya," she snapped. "We're already dressed. We're ready to leave. This isn't a negotiation." "I said no," I replied. Grayson suddenly spoke up, voice quiet but firm. "Mom, let's just go home. Aunt Arya told you she wasn't available. You knew." Kate whipped her heads round. "Be quiet, Grayson. This is adult business." He shut his mouth, but his jaw tightened. I felt a pang. Kids shouldn't have to manage their own mother like that. Kate swung back toward me. "If you don't take these kids right now, I will never forgive you." I straightened. "Kate, that's your choice, but I'm not responsible for your plans today." "You're ruining everything," she shouted. The people down the hall started cracking open their doors. "You're ruining your own plans," I said calmly, by refusing to respect my boundaries. That's when I saw it, the moment when she realized I wasn't bluffing. Her face twisted, almost panicked. "Arya," she said sharply, "you are going to take them. Now." "No." She slammed her palm against the door so hard the chain rattled. "Open it! Open the damn door!" Dalton finally stepped forward, his voice soft but firm. "Kate, stop." She turned on him. "You're okay with this? She's abandoning us." "She told us weeks ago she wouldn't take the kids. We didn't plan around that." He swallowed hard. "We should have listened." Kate gaped at him as though she had just been stabbed. But the dinner," she sputtered. "Your boss. We can't miss it." "We'll bring the kids," Dalton replied. "It'll be fine." "It's adults only," she insisted. "Then we don't go." Kate stared at him like he had just spoken in an alien language. Dalton shifted again, uncomfortable but resolute. "Arya made her boundaries clear," he said quietly. "This isn't her fault." Kate's eyes filled with a rage so sudden and sharp it stunned me. "You," she spat, pointing at me, "are a selfish, bitter woman, Arya. You are pathetic. I hope you enjoy your stupid, lonely, empty life." A strange calm washed over me. "I actually will," I said. "Happy Thanksgiving, Kate." And I shut the door, then locked it, both locks, slowly, deliberately. On the other side, I heard Kate stop breathing for one beat, then her voice erupted, muffled yelling, footsteps stomping, children whining, Dalton trying to soothe in that quiet voice of his. Eventually, the noise faded down the hallway. My body trembled, my knees felt weak. I braced myself against the door, hands flat against the wood. I'd done it, really done it. My phone lit up over and over again with texts I refused to read. Notifications piled up like snowdrifts, angry messages, guilt trips, accusations. I turned the phone face down and walked away. At Friendsgiving, warmth hit me the moment I stepped inside. Natalie hugged me, wine in hand, laughing. "You made it!" Her townhouse was bright, loud, overflowing with people who wanted to be here. We roasted turkey, played cards, told stories, laughed so hard I had tears streaming down my face. Someone brought 7 different pies. Someone else brought a dog dressed like a pilgrim. It was chaos in the best possible way. At one point, I looked around and thought, this is what holidays should feel like. Not obligation, not resentment, not exhaustion. Connection, joy, choice. The next day, my phone buzzed with a voicemail from my mother. Arya, what you did yesterday was cruel and unacceptable. Kate had to miss a very important business dinner because you couldn't be bothered to help your own nieces and nephews for a few hours. This is not how our family operates. Call me back immediately so we can discuss your behavior. I didn't call back. Later that evening, Griffin called. I heard about yesterday, he said. Mom's version was, well, let's say creative. What actually happened? I told him everything. By the time I finished, he let out a long whistle. I'm sorry I wasn't there to back you up, he said. I knew Kate was taking advantage of you, but I didn't realize how bad it had gotten. You're 2,000 miles away, I said. You can't fix this. I can't fix Kate, he agreed, but I can tell you this. I'm proud of you. You finally chose yourself. And for the first time in years, I felt like choosing myself wasn't the same as betraying my family. It felt like stepping into my own life again. The weeks after Thanksgiving felt like living through the aftershocks of a small, personal earthquake. The ground had finally shifted, and everyone in my family acted like it was the end of the world. Every morning I woke up to a new barrage. Long paragraphs from Kate, passive-aggressive voicemails from my mother, message requests on social media from women I barely knew. Kate told us what you did. Unbelievable. 5 kids on a holiday and you couldn't help? Shameful. Family is everything. You should try acting like it. I didn't respond. I didn't defend myself. I didn't argue. I blocked strangers. I muted my mother. I let Kate's messages accumulate like trash in an overflowing bin. And slowly, a strange thing happened. Silence, real silence, entered my life for the first time in years. I didn't realize how much of my time had been swallowed whole by Kate's needs until the noise stopped. My evenings, once dictated by her emergencies, opened into actual space. I started going on dates. I took a glass-blowing class. I read books, 3 in 1 month, which hadn't happened since college. I remembered what it felt like to sit on my own couch without waiting for my phone to buzz with Kate's commands disguised as requests. One day at work, Lauren set her coffee down beside me and looked at me strangely. You look different, she said. Lighter. I feel different, I admitted. Turns out, when you stop letting people treat you like an unpaid assistant, you actually get your life back. She smirked. Wild concept. But the guilt campaign wasn't over. Not entirely. One night, about 3 weeks after Thanksgiving, my phone buzzed with an unexpected name. Dalton. My first instinct was dread. Was this going to be another lecture? Another guilt trip? I opened the message slowly, bracing for impact. Arya, I owe you an apology. We took advantage of your generosity for years. I let Kate treat you unfairly, and I didn't intervene. I've started therapy to work on my conflict avoidance. I suggested Kate do the same. I hope someday we can rebuild a healthier relationship. Thank you for setting boundaries I should have supported a long time ago. I exhaled, my shoulders relaxing just a little. It wasn't forgiveness. It wasn't repair. But it was the first honest acknowledgement from someone in that household that I wasn't losing my mind. And then came the moment I did not expect. It happened on a random Sunday afternoon. My phone flashed with a new message. Harper. She'd gotten her own phone for her birthday a few months earlier. Aunt Arya, are you still mad at us? My chest tightened. Oh, sweetie, I was never mad at you, I said as soon as I picked up. I love you all so much. Then, why don't you come over anymore? She whispered. This time the crack in my heart felt deeper. Because, I said softly, your mom and I need some time apart. But that doesn't mean I don't want to see you. I miss you so much. There was a long pause. Then Harper spoke again, voice even quieter. Mom's been really mean lately. I sat up straighter. What do you mean? She yells all the time, Harper murmured. She says it's your fault. She says she's stressed because you don't help anymore. I closed my eyes. Of course Kate would weaponize me against her own children, but hearing it from Harper's tiny voice felt like someone pressing a thumb into a bruise. But Grayson says, Harper hesitated, he says you were helping too much, that you needed a break. I swallowed hard. Grayson is right, I said gently. Adults need boundaries too. Do you think we could see you without Mom there? Harper whispered. My throat tightened. Of course, I said. Let me talk to your dad and we'll plan something. Just us. Really? She asked, hope blooming. Really. I love you, Aunt Arya. I love you too, sweetheart. After the call, I sat on my couch for a long time, staring at nothing, letting the emotions settle. Guilt, love, grief, relief, all tangled together. Later that week, I reached out to Dalton. To his credit, he didn't hesitate. "Absolutely," he said. "The kids miss you. I'll bring them to the aquarium Saturday." And he did. Walking into Shed Aquarium with those kids felt like stepping back into a world I once cherished, but had forgotten how to enjoy. We looked at jellyfish, we watched penguins waddle, we got pizza at Lou Malnati's afterward, and then Grayson said something that shook me. "Mom says you abandoned us." I froze, the deep dish slice halfway to my mouth. "But that's not true, right?" he asked cautiously. "No," I said firmly. "I didn't abandon you. I just needed to set some boundaries with your mom." "Like how you can't watch us every single holiday?" he asked. "Exactly." He nodded slowly. "That seems fair. Mom has us all the time. That's her job, not yours." Out of the mouths of 12-year-olds. I laughed softly, ruffled his hair. Pretty smart for a middle schooler. The more time I spent with the kids, on my terms, the more I realized I had never been the problem. The broken dynamic had always been between me and Kate, not me and them. From then on, I saw them regularly. Museum trips, weekends at the lake, ice cream runs. But only with advanced planning. Only when I said yes. Only when it didn't cost me my sanity. My relationship with the children healed in ways I didn't expect. My sense of self healed too. Eventually, the daily voicemails from my mother tapered off. I suspected Griffin had stepped in. He had that gift of getting through to her in ways I never could. Her messages shifted from guilt trips to neutral, factual updates. "Your father saw the cardiologist. Your cousin had her baby. It's snowing here." No commentary on my selfishness. No implied shame. Just information. For the first time in my adult life, I felt like I wasn't being monitored or graded by my own mother. As for Kate, we didn't speak. Not for 4 months. Not a word. Then, one gray, windy March morning, our grandfather passed away. And fate did what fate always does. It put us in the same place. Same parking lot, same grief, same blood, same unresolved wounds. I stood near the church entrance, hands stuffed in the pockets of my coat, watching flurries swirl on the pavement. Kate approached slowly, hesitant, stiff, like her shoes were full of stones. We need to talk," she said. I nodded. "Okay." She looked away, then back at me. Her voice was smaller than I had ever heard it. "Dalton's been going to therapy," she said. He, suggested I go too." I waited, saying nothing. "My therapist says I have issues with boundaries and entitlement." She gave a short, humorless laugh. "Apparently, I treat people like resources instead of individuals." I nodded again. It wasn't news. She swallowed hard. "I'm not ready to apologize," she said. "I'm still angry and embarrassed. I'm trying to understand why I acted the way I did." For a moment, I just looked at her. This was the first time she'd ever admitted, out loud, that she was part of the problem. "I appreciate you telling me," I said quietly. "When you're ready, I'll be here." It wasn't a hug, it wasn't reconciliation, it wasn't absolution, but it was real. And for the first time, I didn't need her to apologize in order to breathe freely. I had already given myself permission to live. By the time the next Thanksgiving rolled around, almost a full year since I held the line at my doorway, my life no longer resembled the one Kate had once dominated. The fall air in Chicago was crisp, the kind that reddens your cheeks and makes the city feel sharper and more awake. I woke up early, sunlight spilling across my hardwood floors, and for a moment I just lay there, letting the quiet soak in. Not the heavy quiet of loneliness, the light, breathable quiet of choice. This year, I wasn't cooking for 5 small children. I wasn't waiting for the sound of Kate's SUV. I wasn't bracing for an ambush. I had places to be, but on my terms. Natalie and a few friends from my glass-blowing class had organized a volunteer shift at a local food bank. We spent the morning loading boxes of produce, handing out warm meals, chatting with volunteers who felt like family, even though we'd met only an hour earlier. Serving others because I wanted to, not because someone demanded it, felt like a rediscovery of joy I didn't know I'd lost. Around noon, during a break, my phone buzzed with a notification. Video message. The kids. I stepped outside into the cold air and watched. 5 smiling faces filled the screen, all missing teeth and winter hats, and little voices talking over each other. "Happy Thanksgiving, Aunt Arya. We miss you. Have fun volunteering. Dad said we can see you next weekend. Love you." I could feel my eyes stinging before the message even ended. A year ago, I would have been elbow deep in spilled juice and sibling fights, exhausted, resentful, and pretending everything was fine. Now I was standing under a sky the color of pewter, watching 5 little faces I adored, and realizing they loved me no less for having boundaries. In fact, I think they trusted me more. That weekend, as promised, we went to the Chicago History Museum and took goofy pictures with the giant city models. Harper held my hand the entire time. Knox insisted on showing me every single exhibit twice. Beckett fell asleep in the car on the way home, his head on my shoulder. And it felt peaceful, not performed, not coerced, just love, simple, mutual, freely chosen. My relationship with the kids grew stronger. My relationship with myself grew deeper. Kate and I remained careful, distant but not hostile, in occasional contact, but no longer tangled in unhealthy obligations. Sometimes healing isn't loud or dramatic. Sometimes it's just the quiet decision to stop reopening the same wound. As for my mother, she slowly stopped trying to guilt me. Griffin later admitted he had a very frank conversation with her about how differently she treated me compared to Kate. Whatever he said must have landed. Over time, her calls became warm rather than judgmental. I didn't change because she approved. She approved because I changed. And that was a new kind of power for me. By early winter, I found myself reflecting on that moment, the one where I slid the chain lock into place, Kate screaming on the other side. I realized something I hadn't seen clearly before. The day I locked my door was the day I unlocked my life, because it wasn't really about childcare, or Thanksgiving, or a bottle of grape juice spilled 6 years ago. It was about the roles we get cast in, the responsible one, the accommodating one, the backup parent, the woman whose time is always deemed less valuable because she doesn't have kids of her own. It was about the stories we quietly accept until one day we don't. Now, I am 37 years old, still single, still in my loft with the new locks, still working hard at a job I love. My life isn't empty. It's full of things I choose, friends who value me, hobbies that make me feel alive, weekends that belong to me, and kids I adore in a way that brings joy, not exhaustion. And I wouldn't change a single thing. If you've ever been pressured, manipulated, cornered, guilt-tripped into giving more than you have, there's something I want to ask you. If a family member regularly expected you to provide free childcare without respecting your time, your plans, or your right to say no, would you keep the peace, or would you finally choose yourself, even if it meant everything changed? Because sometimes the biggest twist isn't what your family does. It's what you finally dare to do.